So this is David Diangenda from Madman.TV here with Shane McGuigan following Chris Billam-Smith's title defense win over Richard Riakporhe. How would you sum up today's performance?
Brilliant. You know, I think he executed the game plan perfectly. He performed, not to his best ability, but one of his best performances in his career. I actually think, in hindsight, maybe reflecting on his career when he's all finished, this could be the night where he was concentrated the most, and he needed to, because Richard Riakporhe has world-class power.
And obviously, headed into this fight, you guys obviously Chris fought Richard 5 years ago, and I've obviously asked a question in terms of the difference between fighting him 5 years ago and now. Was there any improvements that Richard had made in those 5 years that you were wary of in advance?
Yeah, I think stylistically he's made a lot of improvements, but for a specific style. For someone like Chris that fights at intensity, changes the ranges, offsets you all the time, I feel like he tried to make it quite technical, and he's trying to improve himself technically, but he's a raw athlete. He's a guy that can punch with either hand. He's a big lump for the division, and I feel like sometimes he might have took away from some of his strengths, but that's also the fact that Chris was able to just switch him off all the time with his little movements and triggers.
And obviously throughout the fight, it seems to me that you guys were trying to limit the Richard's power. Was it something that he did well in, or just to try and make sure, trying to keep distance, trying to make sure that he boxes clean?
Yeah, I mean, it was changing the range, and it was using the jab rather than trying to throw right hands for right hands and trying to match him with his power. Listen, Chris is a decent puncher. He can knock guys out, but he's got the speed. And the most important thing, look at Usyk. How does Usyk win fights against people like Anthony Joshua? He offsets them all the time, and that's how you can win fights against big punches. Punches is not the most important thing in boxing. You've obviously got to have a certain amount of power, but you've got to have all of these other attributes that make a complete fighter. And Chris is becoming more and more of a complete fighter.
And with that being said, this victory will obviously prepare him more into the stratosphere in the cruiserweight division. Would you say that Chris has what it takes to be, amongst the best and fighting amongst the best in the near future?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Riakporhe is one of the best fighters on the planet, and I believe Chris Billam-Smith is too. So you've got Gilberto Ramirez as well, and you've got the WBC world champion, and hopefully in the next 12 months we can continue unify our world title and go on to fight for undisputed.
And on that note, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you.